welcome to 90% Native. I'm Michelle and I garden in Northern Virginia in Zone 7A. Today I am going to plant up some of the seeds I cold stratified a few weeks ago. I have a whole video about that and I will link to that up here and in the description. As far as supplies needed to do this, I have the seeds that were cold stratified. The cold stratification process is covered in that other video that I just mentioned, but as a reminder, the cold stratification process is a process whereby you or nature are breaking the dormancy of seeds to allow them to germinate. The seeds I am planting up today are yellow wild indigo, dwarf blue wild indigo, Shorts aster, curly everlasting, and rose milkweed. All native plants and fantastic for the environment and beautiful in the landscape. The supplies I am using to plant up my seeds are these little takeout containers, and I use them over and over again. I have a long screwdriver and I hold it over my gas stove for a few minutes and I pop the holes in. But I have these takeout containers where I'm going to let them germinate, and then hopefully right before the last frost they'll be big enough to put into deep cell flat. So then I have tape and a paint pen or a paint marker so that I can label the containers. And on a side note, these paint markers are the absolute best. So if you are winter sowing plants outside over winter and you need something to label the plants so that it doesn't wash off, this is what you need. A Sharpie won't do it. A Sharpie will wash off over winter with the snow and the rain, but a paint marker, a paint pen will not. And then I have my scissors. I have some chicken grit. This is new. I am going to start using chicken grit over top of the really small seedlings instead of the coarse vermiculite. I'll use the coarse vermiculite on top of the bigger seeds. The reason why is because it seems that the coarse vermiculite almost binds with my soil, and then it almost seems like it's harder for the seedlings to get up. So this is something that I'm trying out for the first time now. The Brits, they use horticultural grit all the time when they're planting up. I actually can't find horticultural grit around here. I've looked all over the internet to try and figure out what exactly they mean. The closest I have come to is this chicken grit. I will also use coarse vermiculite, which I still have to get, and then I have my soil here. So I make my own soil. And what I use when I'm making a fresh batch of brand new potting soil, and I use potting soil the same as I would use seedling soil, because natives usually take longer to germinate and longer to grow. So I need to make sure that there are nutrients in the soil, where a lot of times seedling soil is lacking any nutrients. So what I do is I get a 25-pound block of coconut coir. I don't use peat. Peat is not a sustainable product, so I use coconut coir. I use a local compost from Maryland, and I picked that up at my local nursery. And then I use coarse vermiculite. So those are the components of the potting seedling soil that I make. This soil right here is a little different because it's already been used. This is recycled soil. I know some people would say not to do that, and that's fine, to each his own, but I don't like to waste it. So if the soil looks good, I throw it in a different bin, and then when I'm doing something like this, then I use 2 parts of the recycled soil, 2 parts of coarse vermiculite, and 2 parts of the local compost. So to get started, I'm going to go ahead and label up these takeout containers. Okay, now that that's done, I will put my tape and my marker pen to the side, and my scissors, and I will start potting up or planting up these seeds. So these aren't the easiest things to get off of the coffee filter, especially with how small some of them are. So I'll just kind of put some on my fingertip, put them down there in the soil. Okay, because these seeds are on the small side, I'm just going to put a little bit of soil on top of them, and then more so of the chicken grit. I get this chicken grit from Amazon. But you can get chicken grit from Tractor Supply or any of the farm supply stores, places like that. So something I didn't mention when I was talking about the supplies is that I also use these metal baking sheets to underwater or water from the bottom these little plants, and it works tremendously, and you can fit 4 in here. And I will put in the description and up on the screen this size that fits these little takeout containers. So because the indigo seeds are a little larger, I'm just pushing them down into the soil, and now I'm just going to move the soil on top, and then I will eventually cover this with coarse vermiculite. I want you to see this because I'll show you how these seeds have actually sprouted and are germinating. Pearly Everlasting is up next. Okay, so these are absolutely tiny. I'm going to show you. Pearly Everlasting has those tiny little seeds, so I'm just going to use my finger and try and dot them on as spaced out as I can, and then I will cover them with the coarse chicken grit. Carol Klein in the UK always says that when you put the horticultural grit down, the seeds will still be able to receive sunlight for those seeds that need sunlight to germinate. Okay, and into the water. It for planting up these seeds that I cold stratified a few weeks ago. I have some plants that I cold stratified the very beginning of June. So I'll bring those out. They're well overdue for planting up into deep cell trays. So I'll show you what those look like, and hopefully these will look like that in about a month to a month and a half. So these are the plants I was telling you about that I cold stratified. So we have purple coneflower, sneezeweed. This is Virginia mountain mint, Penstemon digitalis, smooth blue aster, short-tooth mountain mint, also called clustered mountain mint. And then we have some purple lovegrass, and then finally tall bellflower. So that covers it for potting up the seeds that I cold stratified a few weeks ago in my refrigerator and my freezer. If this is content that you like and would like to see more of, please like and subscribe, and also comment, and let's have a conversation about native plants and how you grow your native plants or design your native plant gardens. So thank you for joining me. We'll see you later.